Welcome everybody to the end of May 2015. I just wanted to do a quick review of some recent trades and recent spikes to help you understand how to spot these stock spikes ahead of time so that you can do this on your own. This is a great message from Lucas. I'm going to highlight a few students because I'm overwhelmed by all your messages. Thank you again. We had a record month. We just are coming off a record week. I count $1.3 million in subscriber profits. More of you are making 500, 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, even 10, 20, 30,000 in a day or two. It's very rewarding for me. And this is just a good visual, and it makes me hungry. Lucas is 14 years old, and he's learning, and now he has a Kobe steak. Freaking awesome. Good job, Lucas. Here is Free Bands. Just finished watching Timothy Sykes get his DVDs. I feel like a lion among sheep. And that's what I want these DVDs and video lessons to do, to empower you so that you have skills that other traders don't, so that you understand the patterns. You're like, wait a minute, when you see something, I've seen this before, I think I know what's going to happen. And that will give you an advantage on every single trade. Here is Rashadur Rahman, fourth day trading. And he says, I love Timothy Sykes and penny stocks. He's up 1,300 on the day, 1,400 in realized gains, $100 in realized losses, 1,300 overall on the day. It's his fourth day trading. As I told him, don't get cocky, okay? This is not normal market. You can push it when there's so many plays and so much opportunity, but just don't expect this every day, especially on your fourth day of trading. Here's Trader MN. This was actually a very good trade. I want to go over this in a little bit. He was actually buying VBLT before I bought, and I'll go over that in a second. First, I want to talk to Zach. This is Zach Attack, and he bought TBIO at 268 at 9:01 a.m. and he sold it 40 minutes later at 3:30, and he locked in 60 cents a share in profits. That's freaking awesome. Okay, I'm not good at math, but that's a 20% plus profit. And it's just a small position, but this is the kind of trade that you guys can do again and again and again. And we'll go over TBIO in a second. Carlos, second trade ever in the Tim Challenge. He banked 56 cents on TBIO, 2 for 2. Again, don't get cocky. It's a good start, but don't get cocky. Here's Rashadur. He said he made 784 yesterday, and then 450 on OHGI today. Here is Meet Patel, TBIO in at 205, exit 352, easy $400 profit. That's freaking awesome when you nearly double your money. That's just incredible. Here's Trader MN. I kept that open. Okay, so here we're going to get to some of the trades. So TBIO, I did not actually trade it. This is one of the benefits of the chat room where, sometimes I miss a trade. I'm always trying to comment, but sometimes I don't execute the trade and I just, talk about it as a potential trade. And here I said, this is at 9:21 a.m. It was right when the stock was right around here at 270, 280-ish. And I said, this is the only volatile play so far pre-market. And so everybody knows I'm looking for volatile plays. Rule number one for finding stocks that are going to spike more is find stocks that have spiked a little bit already, and then you're trying to piggyback it. You don't want to try and call a stock that's not doing anything. It's very difficult to try and predict the exact moment a stock will spike. It's much better to find a stock that's already moving. TBIO was already up to 270 pre-market. And, it just kept going. And, 7 minutes later, it was up 30 cents a share from where I mentioned it. And then at the market open, it was in the 340. So it's up 60 cents a share. So this is all in 10 minutes. It did get a little higher. It got up to 370 by like 9:40. So you had 20 minutes from the time I mentioned it. But just to show you, this is a good way to piggyback. And the news wasn't even that great. It's just that this is the market that we're in where small stock spikes can become big stock spikes. So you just have to be aware. And all of you should be in my chat room pre-market between 9 a.m. and 9:30 a.m. Eastern so that you're prepared so you see what stocks are volatile. I didn't trade it, but it was a perfect call. By the time you even got the alert, it would have been, all screwed up. If I had bought it here at 921 and sent the alert, you would have got it at 920, 922. And, yeah, I guess there was a way to profit, but it's such a quick thing. You need to learn to do this on your own. And I'm proud of people like, well, I closed the other guy, Zack Attack. He bought it at 9:01 a.m. And Trader MN, I'll show you VBLT in a second. Actually, let me go to VBLT. I'll save the best trade for last. So this is my VBLT trade. I made nearly $2,000 late Friday. A lot of you guys were asking me, how did I spot this? What did I see? So VBLT, this is the 10-day chart. And you can see here that it spiked up and then came down. And this was a breakout right here, a few days ago above the former high of 710. So I'm always looking at potential breakouts. And even though it didn't break out much more, it only went to 8 and then came down back to 660 and then back to 8. It's choppy. But the main thing is that it's holding above this key level of 710. And if you look, this is what I like to do. I'm like, okay, it's a potential breakout. Let's see, what I did. So I saw it as a potential breakout. I was watching it mainly because one of the traders who I follow, Mr. Tim Grittani, my top student, he was on Twitter, and you should follow him on Twitter. He's CroyRunner89 is his username. He just posted a bunch of trades. He had a little bit of a sloppy week. I think he finished a little up on the day. But this is what got me interested. So he said this in the middle of the day on Friday at 1:11 p.m. And he said, been building in long all morning into dips on VBLT on the multi-day breakout, a bit choppy, but holding on with tight risk, won't swing. And then, right here, this is like nearly an hour later, and he said, so much for VBLT, annoying when breakouts fail, taking my loss. So he mentioned it, and this is something when the single most successful trader in the world in the past 5 years, where he's gone from a few thousand to a few million, starts watching a stock, I'm going to start watching that stock too. So I was watching it, and it was a potential follow-up breakout. You had the breakout above 710. It was holding it, but what could it do? It would spike a little and then come down, spike a little and then come down. And he was building it, right around here, I guess, in the 8s, thinking that, okay, this could really squeeze on a Friday. And it just didn't. On Friday, the breakout right here was above 780, and it went, to 860. So you had $1 a share breakout if you caught the breakout. But he was trying to build a position in here in the low 8s, and it wasn't breaking out, so he got out probably, right here, and he lost 30, 40 cents, and then it came down. But this is where I got interested, because I was watching it. I like stocks, that are still up on the day, mind you. It wasn't down on the day when I bought it, but it was holding this morning high. The morning high was 774, and even though it went down to 760, it was right around in here at 775-ish. And when you know that that is a kind of a key level, and it's not just random that the morning high was 775 here, and the high here was 780. So when it's a Friday afternoon and it's holding above the morning high and just like right around the 2-day morning high, the potential for a short squeeze into the close is there. So Tim Grittani alerted it. I saw the breakout, the potential breakout. I saw that it was a Friday, and I executed. And, where was my trade? Let me get back there. Too many windows are open. Here's my trade. So I said, bought this biotech presenting next week at a conference on the big dip off the day highs, but should still squeeze in the market close after hours. I will not hold over the weekend since they're presenting early Monday morning. Goal is to sell in the 8s later today. And sure enough, it did squeeze into the close. And I got it in the 770s, and I sold in the low 8s right where I thought. It actually got all the way up to 850. So there was nearly 75 cents a share of spike here into the close because it's a Friday short squeeze. If you watch Tim Raw, if you watch Tim Tactics, I'm always talking about Friday short squeezes. So a lot of shorts were piling in. People in the chat room were confused. They're like, Tim, there's only 3% of the stock that's short. Why are you saying there's so many shorts? When a stock does this in the morning and fails to break out, guess how many shorts piled on the breakout failure in here? Maybe 500,000, maybe 1 million. And the company is presenting at a conference on Monday morning at 7:30 a.m. Eastern. So whatever play is going to happen, it's going to happen on a Friday afternoon because after that, you can't cut losses because you don't know what the risk is when they report the news, whatever it's going to be on Monday morning. So these shorts, everybody who shorted right in here, when Tim Grittani was long and he had to take the loss, a lot of shorts were like, okay, great. This is a failed breakout. I'm going to short this. And a lot of people are trying to bet on the news. I don't want to bet on the news. I'm betting on price action, and I'm betting on knowing what traders are going to do. So when a stock fails to, it's still up on the day and it fails to break below the morning low, and it's a Friday afternoon with 30 minutes to go, of course it's a possible short squeeze. It was such a freaking gimme. In hindsight, yeah, I should have gone bigger. I wasn't sure. I'm not really good at biotech stocks, but I'm good at sensing price action. And once it went back above 780, all the shorts who piled up in here were like, uh-oh, maybe somebody knows something ahead of, the conference. Also, several other chat rooms, several other newsletters piggyback my alerts because you see, how successful I am. And I can't help that. I don't want anybody to follow my alerts, but I can't stop you. I can't stop other chat rooms from alerting it and being like, Sykes is buying, and other people who are like, wait a minute, Sykes is right 3/4 out of the, time, they're going to buy. And other people start pushing this up, and it was predictable, and I set my target very conservatively, and I nailed it. That is a Friday short squeeze. So that was very nice. But the trade that I'm most proud of is this one. Same kind of $2,000 profit on OHGI. And this was a speculative dip buy, very similar where, I was piggybacking a move. It had already spiked, okay? It had already spiked when I bought it. In the overall chart, the spike looks small. But for the past few days, before I was buying, it was in the twos. Actually, let me go to 14 days. So you can see it had one spike here. This was when they came out with the news that they had 3 million downloads of their new app. And I totally bungled my long-term position. I had been holding this for 3 months, and I was selling in here, just missing this big spike. And so it spiked on news of the 3 million, and it started to come down every day. And this was a trend change already. It was already up from 150. It had hit a high of 180, and I was buying it in the 170s here. So why would I dip buy it? Well, again, this stock moves on news, okay? And you have to know that. So the whole question is, when is there going to be more news about their Ashuo app? This, again, is where my chat room comes in handy. I know that there's a lot of noise, not TBIO. This is the chat room archive. So everything I do is timestamped. Everything said in my chat room is archived. And you can go back and look, and you can see exactly how the chat is useful. So a lot of people are talking bullshit. They're promoting their own stocks, like every other chat room. The moderators do a great job. We try and contain it, but you can't help it. This one message from Ferrari 458, I saw it. I saw that OHGI was up on the day. It was already up. I want to say like 10 or 15%. I saw it on my Stocks to Trade software scanning tool. All of you should be using Stocks to Trade. We just had a new update for Mac users. So if you're interested in Stocks to Trade, email admin@timothysykes.com and we'll get you on the new system. But just because I was watching it, there's a lot of stocks up 10 or 15%. But this is where it got interesting. When Ferrari 458 said OHGI financials, and he said spiked, but it could fade. And this is these two people looking at it. I'm like, well, let me look at the financials. So to look at financials of a pink sheet or a sketchy kind of company like this, you go to otcmarkets.com. I've always gone there. So I go to OHGI. I type in the ticker. I go to filings and disclosures, because this is where the SEC filing is. And, I'm filming this in hindsight, but this was new news that day on May 27th. And you click the file and you can see, this is the release that they had. They said on May 27th, One Horizon will present at the 2015 Marco Microcap Conference, and we'll use a presentation at the conference. So this is the presentation that they're going to use at the conference on the 27th. So this is, their investor presentation, May 2015. Last time the stock spiked, they had updated this presentation, and it spiked a little bit. So I didn't expect it to go to 5. Don't ever let anybody say, Tim Sykes says he predicted it to go from the 1s to the 5s. No, I expected it to spike a little bit on news of this new presentation. And this is a long ass presentation. Blah blah blah, blah blah blah, blah blah blah, blah blah blah, blah blah blah. Ishuo, cool. They're in the right sector with messaging and stuff like that. That's cool. But there's one slide that mattered to me, and because I know that this company only has a few million in cash, like most penny stocks, and that they're looking to raise cash. If you look at the OTC markets, they have an S1. This is a prospectus. If you watch my Learn to Read SEC Filings DVD, you know that they're trying to raise money. Okay, so as of May 22nd, they're trying to sell a lot of shares. This is their presentation. They're trying to, raise money. And so knowing that they're trying to raise money, you know that they're going to try and hype themselves up. But everyone tries to hype themselves up. Is this slide really going to raise money? No. There's one slide in here that's going to raise money for them. And we're getting to it. You got to keep going. You got to keep going. This is where my experience comes in handy. Competitors, wait a minute. So they're competitors to Skype and Vonage and WeChat and Line. Some of the hottest companies in the world. This one slide, comparison feature matrix. So they have all of this stuff, more features than all competitors. Skype, Viber, SIP, WhatsApp, iMessage. WhatsApp got acquired for nearly $20 billion because they had so many users. Skype is worth multi-billion. iMessage is worth a lot. Viber's worth a lot. And they, little piece of shit, OHGI has more features. And this one slide, knowing that they're presenting at a conference the next day, I'm not saying hold through the conference. I'm saying buy in anticipation of the hype that they're inevitably going to present at this conference. More features than a $20 billion company. That is what got me to buy. In hindsight, I should have bought more. In hindsight, I shouldn't have sold so quickly. But the cool thing is that this kind of setup is predictable. Every single one of you can buy this. Okay? TBIO, okay, it's a pre-market runner. VBLT, okay, it's a Friday short squeeze. This is a news-based hype play that has spiked huge before. In the past, it has spiked from 1 to nearly 3 in one morning. Here it spikes from 2 to nearly 6. So it has a history of being able to triple by 10 a.m. Pretty freaking amazing. Yes, it came down. I gave a great warning to sell it right here late day at 5:30 when it couldn't hold its highs. And I was like, remember they are trying to do a financing. So I'm always going to look at trying to buy this stock before a big spike. Congrats to so many of you. I have literally, I tried to copy and paste all of this. These were TBIO testimonials from people who were in the chat room, made 100, made 2,700, blah, blah, blah. But here's OHGI, look at this. Just a random one. Juark was in at 202 last night, out at 345. Angry Pirate made another 700. Baguba made 900, made my day. Lando was at 667. Look at this. This guy, Cheatmeyer, made 90 cents a share. Patrick Bam made 800. I was so worried going overnight with it. You don't have to worry when you know that news is coming. They came out with a press release the next day that hyped up. They actually did more hype than I even thought, because in this presentation, it was actually kind of amazing. In this presentation, they said as of 5/13, there's 3 million downloads. And when you go to the press release that they actually issued the very next morning, I did not anticipate this press release. They said that they're supporting mobile payments, so now they're going to get into revenues, which is cool. But right here, they actually updated it and they said they recently passed 3.5. So in the presentation, it says 3 and now 3.5. So they're getting hundreds of thousands of downloads every single day. They probably made that presentation maybe 5 days ago or 6 days ago in anticipation of the conference that they're presenting at. And then the press release, you can update the numbers in real time. So this number 3.5 is an increase over a presentation that they introduced the very day before. Although, downloads are as of 5/13. So it's like 2 weeks ago. So every 2 weeks, they're getting 500,000 new people. So that's like 1 million a month. They're going to be at their goal of 15 million downloads. Their goal was to do 15 million downloads inside of 2 years. If they continue doing 1 million a month, they'll do it in a year and a third. So these are the numbers that you have to look at. I don't give a shit about all this other stuff. I care about downloads, I care about hype, and I care about how much a stock can spike. And this was predictable. Make no mistake. It's not predictable that, you would have another triple, even though it did it once before, and it actually did it twice before. If you look at the first reason why I bought this stock right here, it spiked from 167 up to 4. So it's actually, it more than doubled here. It tripled here, and now it's tripled again. So this has a history of spiking, so it's a former runner, and they're probably going to have news heading into an investor conference. That's all you need to do. So, and mind you, it was already up. I didn't buy it at 150. It was already showing its first green day in the 170s, 180s. I just piggybacked the move that was already happening, and I pieced this together. This is why I'm successful, and most penny stock traders are not. They're not piecing it together. They're not in my chat room where thankfully, other users are watching. I wasn't even watching, like in the middle of the day. Like I wouldn't have seen OHGI came out with that new SEC filing. But when I read the SEC filing, what differentiated me from other people who read that same SEC filing and did nothing was I put the pieces together. And to be my next millionaire student, you need to learn to put the pieces together. And that's why I make videos like this. That's why you Trading Challenge students now get between 2, 3, sometimes even 4 webinars per week. The millionaires who teach these webinars, and every single person who teaches a webinar has made, well, Mark Crook, he does some webinars. He's made 400,000. Michael Good, Tim Grittani, and I have each made several million. This is what separates us from other chat rooms and other newsletters. We are multimillionaires, and we are sharing. There are other people who have made a lot of money, but they have huge ass losses compared to their, total value because they're gunslingers. Michael Good and I will both be the first to admit that we play stocks too conservatively. We sell way too soon. I could have made $20,000 on my OHGI position, and I sold way too early. It doesn't matter. What matters is the setup and that I can pass this knowledge down to you. So if you sell too early and make $2,000, boo-hoo. If you sell perfectly and you make 5 or 10 or 20 grand, depending on your position size, awesome. There's going to be more plays like this. There's always going to be more Friday short squeeze plays like this. And VBLT, you can see the clear breakout was right here at 8-ish. So that's why I put my target to sell in the low 8s. I didn't expect it to really, go to 850. TBIO, this is a tough chart to buy, but it had the momentum. So these plays will always exist. You need to stay in the chat room pre-market and towards the market close. You'll see some potential plays. You'll see some random news coming out. And if you can piece this stuff together like I did, you can really bank. And it's not just about trading the most active stocks that trade 20, 30, 50 million shares a day and trying to scalp out and make 5, 10 cents a share like too many traders do. Too many of you guys think that that's where the money is. The money is in predicting big run-ups, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50% gains. So like on stocks like OHGI, I made 22% on my position. That's very good for me. But it was actually a 200% run up. So I captured roughly 1/10 of the potential profits. And that will happen to you. Do not worry if you capture 1/10 or 1/5 or a quarter or, a half of what you could have made. The key is doing good trades, practicing them over and over again, trying to make as much as you can. Even if you missed OHGI, a few of you guys are like, oh, Tim, I'm too new. I was scared. The stock had already gone from 170 to 2. Okay, so you miss a trade. Now you know for the next time, wait a minute, what is the next OHGI? Is it going to be, another time where they're presenting at a conference? The next time OHGI presents at a conference, whenever it's on the schedule, make sure and look because they're probably going to try and hype themselves up. I would not just have a long-term position in OHGI though, because you have to understand that they are trying to raise money, and when they do raise money, it'll probably be in the 2s or the 3s. So it's up a ton. The key is buying it very specifically, at very specific prices, and that's what I said in the alert. I'm buying this at a very specific price. I was dip buying it off of the day highs, just like VBLT. Tim Grittani was in VBLT too, but he was buying it near the day highs. And he lost money. I was buying it near the market close on a big, nearly $1 a share dip off of the highs, so I made money. So your entry price is very important. It's not just about being in the right stock, it's about being in the right entry price and understanding the time of day and the different catalysts. So anyways, this was just a quick video. I hope it's helped you learn that penny stocks are predictable. I will do this till my dying day because we're going to have plays like this over and over and over and over again, and I want you guys profiting. So I'll see you guys in the chat room tomorrow. You Trading Challenge students, watch those archived webinars, please. They'll help you. Everybody else should be watching DVDs and video lessons. And if you think that you want more mentorship from me and more dedication from you as a student, then apply to be my next Trading Challenge student. We don't accept everybody. It's not just about, oh, please, here, give me my money, give you some money, I'll teach me. It's not just about the money. I want dedicated students. A student that pays me a lot and does not watch any video lessons is useless, okay? So it's okay if you don't want to commit the time to watching these video lessons and DVDs and webinars, but you're not going to get as good as my top millionaire students and I by slacking, okay? So this is all about effort. Your life can be changed based on how much effort you put in. It's not just about knowing where a specific technical breakout is. Buy the breakouts. It's so simple. No, you have to understand the subtleties of the market and different times of the day, and especially on Friday afternoons. Anyways, I got to post this. See you guys. I got to go to Mark Crook's wedding. Mazel tov to Mark Crook. He's one of my top Trading Challenge students. He's up 400 grand, and that money allowed him to move to Miami and meet the love of his life. I'm honored to go to his wedding later today. See ya.